Hello and welcome to Notorious Momz, the podcast. I'm here with my girls, Kat and Val from the Milk Brands. Hey, girls.
Hi, how are you
How y'all
today?
doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate y'all taking the time to sit here with me and talk some shit. Because, that's what I be doing. That's what Notorious Momz is about. Because sometimes you just need to talk some shit, right? Because, we got kids and lives and all this craziness. So sometimes you gotta be heard. So the Milk Brand. So wait a second. Before anything, I just want to show everybody I got my shirt on.
Hey,
I got my shirt on. Yo, those gifts were so dope. I loved it. My mother was trying to steal some of my shit. I'm like, no. I'm like, maybe I'll give you a keychain. Pero no pa tanto. I want my shirts because the winter's coming up. So thank you guys for that. So tell us a little bit about like the Milk Brands and like what was your inspiration for starting? I know you ladies are both moms. So tell me a little bit about how the Milk Brand came about.
I'm gonna take the lead on this one. So me and Kathy actually know each other for quite some time. We actually met in junior high school. And at that time we weren't like friends per se. We were like, we knew each other, like we knew we went to school together.
Right.
But after junior high school, we always somehow managed to come in each other's lives, in and out at the right times, through breakups, when we were single and we needed friends, or, we needed to hang out, somebody to hang out with, you know what I'm saying? And it was always like an in and out situation.
Right.
And then I got pregnant and I had posted up on Instagram. We were following each other on Instagram since forever. But I had posted up on Instagram that I was going to attempt to do my birth in a birthing center. And so at that point, she hit me up and she was like, what birthing center? Like, where? And I was like, oh, I'm going to do it at the Brooklyn Birthing Center. She was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, me too. And I'm like, wait, you're pregnant? And she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. So
y'all were pregnant at the same time.
I had no idea. She was kind of like watching me, and then
when she had just announced, but I still hadn't said anything.
Yeah, she had. That's why I didn't even know. So when she mentioned it, and she was like, "Yo, I'm trying to do the same thing. Like, I'm going to the birthing center, the same exact birthing center, and we're like crossing each other's paths without even knowing yet again."
Right.
And so from that moment, we kind of just like latched onto each other as, like each other's backbone without even knowing it. It was just kind of like, I was really excited about being pregnant and also very nervous and just, this is my first pregnancy. So I'm like, there's just so much going on in your head, and to have somebody else to go through that with, that was also pregnant, not necessarily had a child already, and it's telling you like, wait till this happens, wait till. She was going through everything with me at the same exact time, and it was like just the perfect timing. It was great. And then after I had, my son was first, and her daughter was after. After we had our kids, like shit kind of like hit the fan a little bit, right? Because we were both, and we used to call each other like snob moms, right? Because we were like, oh, I know everything. I know all this. Kathy was like, she was like the gadget person, right? So she had like the strollers and like the baby carriers and everything. And for me, it was more like, like the food. I know about the food, and I know about the nutrition, and I know about all that crap, right? So we were like, we got this shit. Like, I got this baby. I'm gonna be the best mom ever. And then all of a sudden, I had my son, and she was still pregnant, and I'm just kind of like, Kathy, what the fuck?
Right.
Like,
what do I do?
I knew, I didn't know anymore. My son wasn't latching. He had a tongue tie, which I had no idea what the hell a tongue tie was ever. I never had in my life.
Right.
Hardest battle to get him to latch. I mean, nipples cracked. I was in tears. From the very moment that I gave birth, and it was an excellent birth. It was an excellent pregnancy. I mean, my birth was like, it was really magical. Like, it was really a good birth. It was long. It was
good.
6 hours, like from the beginning. But it was beautiful, right? And then literally the minute they handed me this baby and they put him on me, I was really just kind of like in a little bit of like a clusterfuck. I'm like, yo, I'm dead ass responsible for a person.
For a whole life. Yes.
Like, and he's so fragile and so tiny and so like, I'm like, oh my God, like this is for real. So I'm telling Kat all of this stuff, and she's just looking at me like, this is crazy. Like, what the fuck? And then she went through her birth. Her birth was very, very dramatic. I mean, I'll let her tell you, but her birth was very dramatic, right? And not what she envisioned either. Because we had this vision that we were going to have these beautiful births, beautiful pregnancies, you know, our babies were going to be perfect, everything was going to be perfect. And for her, it didn't feel that way giving birth, you know. Lucky for her though, I mean, her milk was flowing like she just had milk for everybody. Her milk was coming out before she even gave birth. So but she also went through the same situation where her baby didn't latch. She was not interested in her nipple at all. She was like, I don't care for it. But she did, you know, we both knew that we wanted to breastfeed. And then going along this journey together, as we're going along this journey together, we started to realize that there was a lot of crap that we should have known that we didn't know. Because they paint this picture of motherhood that's, you know, very, very
put together.
Very put together, very
right.
Oh, I had a baby, and you know, we did this and we did that, and it's
and
like,
as long as you had this,
yeah, then you're good to go. Like as long as you had this knowledge, you're good to go.
Right.
But it doesn't really work like that for moms that come from where we come from.
Right.
That's not. We just don't live that life. Like that's just not realistic for us. I mean, we work. A lot of us work. A lot of us don't have the opportunity to stay home with our kids comfortably. I was forced to stay with my kid because they were like, you got 3 months. And I'm like, well, I want to be with my baby. But at the same time, I'm worried about, you know, financial situations because they're not
right.
The breastfeeding was a challenge because what I thought I did know, I didn't. And I felt like there was nowhere to get support correctly. Even going to a birthing center and even giving birth at a birthing center where everything is supposed to be there for you, it didn't feel that way.
Right.
So me and Kathy kind of just kept discussing this over and over. You know, when we had like our 3 in the AM, you know, pumping sessions, we're all like mad at life and everything is, I fucking hate everything. Everything.
Right.
But we also felt like we had a responsibility to other moms because other moms were watching us in this journey. And so we didn't want to be, we're not the type of people to be like fake about it. Like,
no, everything's great. Like, no,
this is what's going on. And
yes,
it's like it's not that I don't love my baby. Is that this shit is very exhausting and it's
real.
And it's real.
Once it's very real.
You have that child, like no going back. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. Like
that's a fact.
We're responsible.
Yeah.
And so through all of that, going through the journey and realizing that there was just certain things that were not taught to us, we felt that we had a responsibility to the moms of the hood. And we're not saying that we're excluding any moms. This is like, we want it to be known that we respect all mothers, no matter how you were raised, where you come from, what type of situation, financial situation you got. All motherhood almost feels the same. We all got the same complaints. We all got the same, you know, attitude sometimes. It's all the same. Some of them, you know, some moms will pretend that it's perfect and that.
And what I say, they cry in the shower.
Every time I will talk, I'm like, Camila, like she's acting like, you know, like her fucking baby's not perfect, and she's like, yo, she probably cries in the shower. It's okay. That's all. That's all a show. Don't worry. But we feel like we had a responsibility to the moms of the hood, and that's where we have that play on words where we say, you know, like welcome to the hood, because the hood is the hood. Like we know the hood. Right. You know the hood because you were also, which I found out too, that you're from East New York.
Right. We all from the same hood. I was born and raised in East New York.
So we have that it's moms from the hood, but it's also a hood that's motherhood because we're in this hood together, no matter what hood you actually come from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for us, it was really just about a responsibility that we felt as knowing what we know and having gone through the experience, not necessarily telling other moms like, oh, wait till you go through it, or wait till not that, but letting them know that if they do need support, they do feel isolated, or they do feel like it's not that cookie cutter, you know, motherhood that they thought was going to be, they have a backup. You know what I'm saying? Because we went through that. We know what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? So it did start out at first as just us, you know, reposting things, mothers that we knew that were having babies or had babies or were willing to share photos with us of their pregnancies, their births, and you know, a lot of the knowledge that we learned along the way. It started out that way, and then it kind of developed into kind of like a hood. Like we were like, whoever wants to be part of our hood, like that's why we make the apparel, because we feel like we want to have, like, you know, a gang. It's to not make it like a negative connotation, because, you know, that's negative. Like it's a gang of us.
Right.
Motherhood is not something that you do alone. No matter what anybody wants to tell you, no matter how they want to make it seem to you, it's not something that's supposed to be done alone. You know, this involves your grandmothers, it involves your mothers, it involves your partners, it involves, you know, other children that you may have, family members, aunts, uncles. It's like, it's a gang. Like once you have a baby, that's why they tell you it takes a village, because
yes,
everybody has a responsibility for this child once he's born, you know? And people tend to kind of forget that because they're like, don't talk about my baby, it's my baby. And then you realize like, damn, I need help though. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it kind of like shifted into us making the apparel and us making, you know, the madre shirts, because to us this is very significant to us. Not only are we moms, but we're Hispanic moms, you know, like
right.
We're kind of like a different breed, you know what I'm saying? We have the mix
Yes.
of our like ancestors and the mix of like our parents that come from DR or Puerto Rico or the Caribbean, and they have all these influences on you, but at the same time we were born here in America and we know a different way.
A little different.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
that's for sure.
Yeah,
my mom or my mother-in-law, they would want to force things on me where I'm like, I know that you think that that's right, but it's not. Like, I know that you feel because my baby's not fat, he's not healthy, but that's not real. Like, that's not the reality. So
Right.
we feel like our job is to really just expose all of this. This is like a new breed, a new generation for us. And we feel like we know there's moms that are like us out there. It's just that there's not a place for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Either you're in the cookie cutter or you don't love your kids. And it's like, no.
It's like no gray area, girl.
We're like, yo, we're the gray area, bro. Like,
I can't even tell you. That's so true.
So that's pretty much what the Milk brand is. And it did start out as Vandal Mamas. We were Vandal Mamas, you know, from the get.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that was the initial name.
That was the initial name, and that, you know, it came from me because I'm always kind of like the one that's like the brain a little bit, you know. Kathy's more like organizational. She's like, Val, you got emails that you and I'm here like,
everybody has a mission, girl.
Exactly.
When you're doing this, everybody has a mission.
Exactly. And you know, this is something for me personally. I'm not speaking for Kat when I'm talking about this part, but for me personally, this is something that I feel has been brewing for me since before I even met my partner. Like, I always knew I had a responsibility to my community and I had a responsibility to other women. I didn't know what that meant for me, but I knew that I had like a responsibility. And it wasn't until I had my son that I realized like, this is where it all comes together, where all these little things that I have been doing in life have led to this very moment. So for me, this is like very real and very like not a hobby. Like, I take this very seriously, and this is where we are. So now we started out as Vandal Mamas, and then I had like this little bit of like an epiphany one night. I'm always like big on play of words, which is why I love like rap music, and I love, like, you know, Jay-Z is one of my favorites because he's always, you know.
Mine too, girl. He will forever be my favorite since junior high school.
Exactly. So
and I think we all went to the same junior high school too. I went to IS 302.
No, you was in 302. We were in 171, but I was in
okay.
302. So I was like, this is so crazy that you were like literally right under our noses. We were all like right together. We didn't even know. But that's where the play on Milk came from, because Milk has one definition that's not very pretty, which is, you know, a pornographic definition where milking on somebody, right? And I'm like, you know, people are so gross, but but to me it's funny, right? To me it's funny because we're taking something. It's almost like when people use the word nigga, or when people use, you know, certain words that we try to like own that back, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, milk in general is such a big idea when it comes to motherhood. That battle between, you know, giving your kid formula or giving your kid the breast or the bottle.
Yes.
Like, to me, it's like, you know, we all know that we want to give a titty to our kid, right? Like, we know, but it's not that simple. It's not just simple, because I know from firsthand, I wanted to feed my child. Then I had to work, and I was like, wait, I got to pump. Yo, I didn't even buy bottles because I'm in my mind, my little tiny mind, I was like, I'm gonna give my kid the breast and he's gonna take it, and that's gonna be that. I had no reflection about like, all right, so what about when you go to work? You gonna take your baby with you? Hello. So the milk part was me just kind of like brainstorming and thinking about how this big idea of milk is for mothers, right? And then the milk part is, you know, when you milk somebody, when you milk them for the money, you milk them for their time. Oh, like you know, you milk that person. Or when you milk
me out.
When you're milking the cow, like you milk that cow, like you milk them out. So to me, it was just like, yo, milk has such a big significance. Like whether it's the pornographic, you know, play on the word, or whether it's, you know, the milking a cow or milking somebody for money. And at the end of the day, when I was telling Kat this, she was just like, sometimes I would like not find the word to explain how I felt. And I'm like, Kat, I just feel like, and she's like, milk.
It was also because we were literally exclusively breast pumping. So that's every 2 to 3 hours on the clock. You have a machine on you for 20 to 40 minutes.
Like a cow. Like,
on your milk flow that day.
I did the same thing, girl. So
like,
I know.
I can't move. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But
I'm
then by the time
like
you're
everything
done, you forget
stinks.
to eat
Everything
because you did
right
6
now.
other things, and it's just like, and then next thing you know, I'm talking to Val again because I got to pump, and I'm like,
right. And so we're always like on the same schedule. Like I'm up at like 4 a.m. She's like, "What's up, girl?" I'm here too. So
no, it's true. Like at the hospital, also, like when I gave birth as well, that was like the nurses didn't talk about any formula. They didn't talk about, it was strictly like nursing. And they basically, and this is something like that they like pushed on you. It's like, no formula. You about to breastfeed. And I was like, God, I haven't done this in so long. Like I did it with my son too, but I dried up. Like I was a younger mom. I was like 20 when I had my son. But it was just like breast is best. That's what they were saying. Like no formula.
See,
and I was just like, damn, the hell?
I did.
Yeah, like it's great, but it's like, and for us too, like we do know that there's some faults when it comes to formula, right? Because obviously that's not going to be the perfect. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, it's really not built for your baby, you know, out of your brain. Right. We get that. But at the same time, we just felt also like moms need to know about the formulas. We're not saying that they're all horrible. We're not saying that, you know, no formula, no. It's just that realistically, especially for moms in the hood, sometimes breast can't happen. Like
yeah.
Having to breastfeed a child is a lot more than just putting a boob in a mouth. It's like
it's a whole child.
The hormones gotta be right. You gotta be eating right. You gotta drink.
Yeah, you gotta drink a lot of water. You gotta hydrate. Hydration is like one of the main things.
You gotta have time. Yes. Some of us have other kids. I mean,
so you gotta plan what to wear.
I mean, the time that I had to pump
when to get ready, when to come home. You only got a 2 to 3 hour gap outside.
Right, and then where do you pump? Like now, back in the day, like when I had my son, they didn't.
Did she freeze, or that's just?
Yeah, I think yes. She froze a little bit.
Okay.
They have the like the little rooms where you can go in and breastfeed.
Oh, the lactation room.
They didn't have that. The lactation rooms. They didn't have that when my son was born.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like where. So I'm supposed to pump in a bathroom. Like I'm not about to, like, that's unsanitary.
I just had my son 3 years ago and they made me do that at a job.
Wow.
I see at that time, and I knew in my mind it was fucked up. Like, that's gonna make me pump. Like, I know my milk is not like gonna be like dragged in the bathroom, but
still,
you should.
It's funky.
The air. You shouldn't be exposing your breast milk. That's something that's so like.
It's like eso es sagrado, like legit.
So I knew, and it's like I knew it wasn't right, but because I didn't have the correct information, I didn't know that I could fight back.
Right, and it's okay because your focus was
that job was milking me so much that I quit. I legit quit.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck the money. And I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, you gonna have to make this shit work because I can't do this no more. Like I'm really like in a fucked up place right now. So I had to leave that job and I stayed with my son for like 6 months, which was the best time of my life. I wish I could go back there all the time because it was really good. It was hard. Let me backtrack there because in the beginning I didn't know what a stay-at-home mom meant. Again, I'm thinking I'm gonna be with my baby. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then it was like, girl,
like reality check. Espérate.
I gotta clean all day. This is an all day thing. I gotta clean all day. Like what? So again, all of this is what led us to create Milk. At first, we were kind of like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're just kind of like rolling with it. But it starts to get a little clearer when you do see other moms express to you like, we feel the same way. We just don't really say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't, because especially Hispanic women, we're not supposed to, and
because you know what it is. I think it's because we're so very prideful as well.
Correct.
I mean, I know, especially like Dominican moms and Puerto Rican moms, we're very prideful.
They put that
on our families.
And they tell you like, well, tú sabes que tu mamá had 7 kids and she did it. And you're like,
a full-time job.
Different. See, it was a time, like back in the day, and everybody has their struggle. Like our parents had their own struggles too. Like
definitely
got away from them. But in these days, you're lucky if you have more than one kid because first of all, the expenses are
crazy,
ridiculous.
Childcare, I mean.
And what about diapers and wipes and
formula?
Childcare? Yep, the formula.
Girl, we gave our kids goat milk. Don't even get started in that conversation. And that's like $60 a can to get you started. And as they got older, we switched them to the whole milk of goat milk. That's still $10 for half a gallon.
Well, I did the Similac. So we had to do that, but my baby had a couple of like gastro issues. So we switched to milk a few times and then we ended up giving her. So now she drinks almond cashew milk because she's also a vegetarian, my daughter. She's a vegetarian. We don't give her any meat. And we don't give her any like dairy milk. She eats ice cream and stuff like that. But we give her like, almond cashew milk. And that seems to like be working. Because I feel like also too, they also push the dairy milk and the dairy, but a lot of our dairy is fucked up.
Don't get me started on dairy.
You know what I mean? Like hormonally, like that is very fucked up. And a lot of people don't know that.
To me, I'm like, it's not that it's about cow milk. It's that it's about the cow milk that we're getting.
Exactly.
And that's what's not fair. And that's what the women and the moms don't know. It's like, oh, so I'm just not going to drink cow. It's like, it's not about that. It's about that the type of cow milk that you're getting, it may not be the best for your son.
It's like, oh, the doctor told me this, so that's that. And it's like kind of questionable.
3 weeks in of pumping and actually, no, I'm lying. It was 3 months. 3 months in of pumping and I was stressed the fuck out. And I was just like, yo, where's that formula at? Where's that? Somebody gave me a case of formula. Where's that? Give me the formula. And
but you see, I have to vouch for her because she was actually like steady. But because people get in your head and the Spanish culture,
I was very tired. And my mom feels bad for me. My mom,
when he was perfectly healthy.
Me and my mom are close. We're very close. And she just saw me so fucked up. That she was just like, yo,
because you're exhausted. Because could you only giving your child breast milk, you have to do it like every 2 to 3 hours. Do you know what's every 2 to 3 hours when you're trying to sleep?
Yo,
you can't sleep. You don't sleep.
Let's not even talk about that sleep, girl. Jesus Christ, that was so bad. So you know what? I actually got insomnia because of that. So
I believe it.
My son is 3 years old, and just to like the other day, I had been going through a really bad case. I've never had insomnia in my life. Really bad case of insomnia because of the constant waking up all the time. But what happened with him is that I gave him that formula because I was so tired. I was at 3 months. I was like, yo, I can't do this no more, bro. Like I can't. And so I gave him the formula, and then me and my boyfriend, we worked it out. He was like, yo, let's give him the bottle at night. Let's give him that one. We gave him that bottle, and he woke up, yo, like a tomate, like swollen, red.
Oh my God, he had an allergic reaction.
He actually ended up getting eczema because of it. And so I didn't give up. I tried, I want to say maybe like 7 different formulas, and nothing was like, each time was getting worse and worse. His skin, I mean, cat knows.
Oh, shit.
It got so bad at one point that, and this was after, because once he got the eczema, that's it. He had eczema. Like no matter what I changed or what I did, he had the eczema. Like it was like
it was already there.
His gut was already fucked up. Like that's it. I fucked it up. But one time he se sacó like canto of like, his
yeah, because that shit burns and it itches so bad. My nephew actually has it really, really bad, and he's had it since he was also little. Yeah, so that's crazy.
Because of that reason is why I ended up exclusively pumping for like 10 months. After that, I was like, all right, so that means I gotta put my mom cap on. I gotta thug this out, and what I did was I kind of like stopped listening to everybody. And
yes, like, that's important.
I know I'm tired and I know I'm exhausted, but I have a duty as a mom. And like, nothing else really matters right now, because when I see my son like that itchy crying because le pica el cuerpo,
Right.
caliente,
Right.
I'm like, I have a duty. I have to do this. And so I did it. I did it for like 10 months. And I know that Kathy knows that last month
Must have been hard.
It was the hardest month for me. And that's because of that is why I was like, let me try the goat milk. And Kathy had been telling me about this goat milk for a while, but the infant version of it wasn't really available in the United States. It's from Germany.
Ah, okay.
Like $50. And I'm like, yo. So I was like, yo, let me give this a shot. This is my last, I'm going to try.
That was the last resort.
And at 11 months, I gave him that milk and he took it fine. Like he would spit up all the
right, because I'm sure it was like different from the, you're going from breast.
Yeah, he was so he didn't like it. And so when I gave him the goat milk, I was like giving it to him and I was like tiptoeing, and he busted down. And I was like, okay, now let me see the reaction, right? No initial reaction, no nothing. So I was like, yo, maybe it's goat milk is where it's at for me. And ever since then, he's been drinking goat milk, and I'm like, yo, that goat milk tastes like Chivo, like OD. Like it's
so I hate
I'm sure it stinks too.
It smells just like Chivo. I'm like, oh.
But it's so much better for them. It's easier for them to digest. It doesn't have that fat lactose that regular cow milk has, and makes it very heavy. Actually, for babies to digest such fat at such a young age, which is why a lot of them end up colicky and just start throwing up all the time after feeding. You're like, what? You just asked for 2 more ounces. Why are you throwing it up?
Right.
But it's just the
digestion
fat that is actually in the formula or milk that you use.
And it's the steroids too. Like I had told one of my physicians, I'm like, I'm not giving my daughter any dairy milk. And she was like, oh, they have to drink dairy because it's hormonal for their growth. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, she's been doing fine. She's been thriving just fine. And we just left it. She eats ice cream, regular kind of stuff, but not like milk.
Yeah, but and every now and then I have given it to him. But it does end up constipating him. So that's why I'm like, I just. So
you gotta I
gotta tread lightly on that one because, his intestines is all messed up already because of that.
How old is he now?
He's 3. He's 3 years old. And her daughter just turned 3 also.
My daughter's gonna be 2.
I knew you had I knew she was a little newer.
Yeah, she definitely was new. Oh my God. So that's a dope story. A lot of people, and I think the fact that you guys are just trying to be really informative to people that, that don't really have the information. And it's really unfortunate. That kind of bothers me too, because coming from the same place you guys come from, is why is this information not reaching people where we come from? It's what is happening? You know what I mean? But honestly, I just feel like it's a kind of financial status thing. You know what I mean? The people that don't have money don't get knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that shit is the wackest shit ever.
It really is. And it's not fair. It's just,
it's
we love our kids just as much as the rich person does. And
that's correct.
I don't think that is fair that we don't get a chance to, at least if we can, and try. I mean, getting this formula for my son may have put a hole in my pocket, but to me it was the utmost important.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. Yeah. I didn't do my nails or my hair or anything for a very long time. That's why I stressed it today, because I was like, I gotta get my nails done. I didn't do a lot of things because I'm to me, I know I'm on the poor.
It's a sacrifice. That's what happens when you have children.
We care about our kids. It's not we don't. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is that they try to make it seem in the hood como que we're just gonna do whatever's there, and we do, because if we don't know better, my kid
can't do better. If we don't know better, we can't do better.
Yeah, so I'm just my son gotta eat. So if that's the only formula that's available, then that's what I'm gonna give him. I mean, you go to this Stop and Shop. I got a Stop and Shop right 2 blocks down. You think they're gonna have goat milk there? They don't have no goat milk. I gotta travel all the way to the nice side to go get.
You have to go to the the name brand, the what is it called? The one in the city that is I forget what it's called. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. That kind of stuff. But then you said, you spending $60 for a can of goat milk. But what you gonna do?
Right. I'm I gotta eat. My son needs to. You know what I'm saying? That's
the crazy thing about it. So that goes to my next question. So since you guys have started this journey, like how do you feel this has impacted like fellow moms? Like what have people been saying like since you girls came on the scene?
You have something to say, because I talk a lot.
I'm gonna tell you now. Usually you don't, so it's kind of nice to hear you talk. But no, honestly, we keep going because of the feedback we get from people. There's a lot of times, like, it gets difficult because we're both, though we're in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's big, so she's over here, I'm over there. She has a kid schedule, I have my kid schedule, and then we're both, with spouses, and that's another job on top of that. So it's there's moments that like we go like, yo, I'm calling a break because like just running this is too much. Can you hold it down for a bit? And it's just like either yeah, or I'm pulling the plug with you. And we make that agreement, put a pause on the brand, which is actually how we went from Vandal Mamas to Milk. We both needed a pause. And she pitched the idea and we came back, full and just going with it. But I think mom's reminding us like, oh, what I went through, I had a traumatic freaking birth experience and it took away my glory moment. Like, when they gave me my baby, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is my baby. She didn't crawl up to my breast, we didn't do skin on skin. No, I had an emergency C-section after 8 days of labor and I heard my baby crying for 40 minutes while they stitched me up. Like, I literally was going insane. Right. And when I share my story or when Val shares her stories or like, we say we're exclusive pumpers because our baby didn't latch and we lacked the education of how to make our baby latch.
Right.
Moms are like, oh shit, me too. And you're like, oh, there goes our people. You get me? There goes our community. And that just keeps us going because when we have that doubt, even the pop-up shop that we did recently, it was like, yo, we're not even in the right.
Oh my God. When you guys did that, I so wanted to go. But I was like, oh my God, I would have loved to like be there to support.
Next time we plan on doing some more,
that was really interesting for us because usually when it comes to these types of like brands, like these motherhood brands, like you always got to be around moms, right? Because that's who you're catering to, like.
Right.
So I looked at her and I'm like, Kat was like.
Yeah, I looked at her and I was like, we're doing this and this is not a mom event at all. Like we're probably the only like mom shop there, like specifically mom shop.
Because everybody had different pop-ups.
It's like a different, it's not a mom pop-up shop. It's like.
They had a fundraiser, they had a chef, and here we
are. I was like, the funny thing is you never know who's a mom. No. That's the funny thing. You never know who wants to get stuff for their mom. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is our element because we are trying to cater to the hood. So it's like even if we had gone to like a mom only pop-up event,
we probably wouldn't have fit in the way we did.
Yeah, we still would have been sticking out like a sore thumb because they're like, what the fuck about the hood? Fucking hood, what are you talking about? It's moms. Like, what are you? And it's like, you don't get it, okay? Because you're not from the hood. So if you don't come from the hood, you're not gonna understand. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why sometimes it feels like our niche is only in the hood because a lot of like our wordplay, a lot of the things that we say, a lot of the jokes that we say, it's hood things. And a lot of other moms that don't come from that life they're not
gonna get it.
No,
that's not funny. So that pop-up shop was really that was our first pop-up shop ever. But it was a very interesting experience because a lot of people did purchase things that men came to our table and they were like, well, I'm getting this for my mom, I'm getting this for my girl, I'm like, oh. Like I thought
that's dope.
Mom's here doing this, you know what I'm saying? So it was a really good experience. She was right on that.
That's dope. Yeah, those things like that's like exactly the right thing because I mean, whether your mom is present in your life, everybody has a mom. You know what I mean? Everybody has a mom somewhere. So whether she's been present or active or not, but it's just like, oh, let me buy this for my abuelita, or let me get this for my tia. So it's like super dope that there were people there to support.
Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, I thought it was so dope. There was someone else doing a pop-up shop in another thing, and I think that's becoming like the new thing too. Like that's the new trend. Because it's like I also feel like since post pandemic, people want to get out. Like you want to interact, you want to see people, and it's just like even though we have to do it safely, it's kind of like, that's a dope environment to be in, you know?
Yeah,
it was very heavy.
Totally,
I was inside, I was locked up. It was a whole year that I was just like,
and then when you have you guys had your small kids, we all had our kids small during the pandemic. So it's like, where the hell are you gonna go? No, you cannot come to my house. Right. No, I'm not going to your house. No, I'm not going outside. I'm not taking my baby nowhere. Exactly. Yo, I legit, like, my friends, they were like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You can't come. I love you, but you can't come.
Right. No. 4 squares. But I did not leave those 4 blocks for like a whole year.
Yeah, that's it.
Like last year, and it was like,
it was really,
it's like devastating.
Yeah, for real. That year was like, what the fuck? Like, let alone motherhood is already hard.
Right.
Like, to throw that pandemic on you like that, I was just like, bro, I just started getting my life together. Like, what? Come on.
But can I tell you something? I feel like for some people, like, especially like for me, and I'm sure for you ladies as well, the pandemic, even though we had a lot of losses and, you know, there was a lot of chaos, but it kind of forced people to like take a seat. Yeah. You know, and this is, and I feel like this is why now we have a lot of Latino-owned businesses and Black-owned businesses, because people were like, all right, it's a motherfucking pandemic. What are we gonna do? Like, this can't be life, right? Because a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people didn't have nothing to do. So it forced everybody to like figure out a motherfucking plan. Because when you're moving, you know the New York life. It's like we're constantly moving. It's like everything has to be like right away. And it's just like, all right, the pandemic hit, and it's like, okay, ahora qué vamos a hacer?
Nothing.
Yep. We took a seat and. Honestly, that's when milk like was hit like the hardest for us. Like I really started going. I mean, I was jobless, and I was like, I have nothing else to do here. I'm so bored, and I'm like, I found the funds. Wherever I can get a little bit of change from, you know, like I started making the shirts. I'm like, I want to start going at this real hard, because before the pandemic, it was difficult. It was so difficult to try to do anything with our side hustle, which we really want to make our first hustle, but we got bills to pay, and this right now, like, you know, it's nice, it's beautiful, but it's not going to pay my rent, and it's not going to pay, you know, Kathy's rent too, and our salary and daycare and all that stuff. So we got to maintain our jobs. So in the beginning, before that pandemic, it was like, you know, that 9 to 5, you got to go 9 to 5. When the winter hits, you know, it's dark already at 2:00 in the afternoon. Now I gotta go home, and like everything's already done. Everybody gotta go to sleep. Like it's hard. So when the pandemic did hit, it does force you. It forced me to like take a seat, girl, and really think about how you wanna play this. Because the reality is that I could have sat there the whole time and just looked at the walls like
did nothing. A lot of people did that, and that's okay. You know what I mean? But me, like, just like you, I was just like, you know, I spoke to my husband, and I'm like, yo, something's gotta give.
Yeah, so
because you know, I don't hate my 9 to 5, but I feel like it's just so many other things that it's just, the world is so big, you know, and we have so many more opportunities. Like, you know, way back when, you know, being a woman, being Latina, you know, that was just like, we couldn't do anything. We didn't have any rights. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now being in like such a melting pot where, yo, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes all you need is a computer. You know, when I started my podcast, I didn't even have a laptop. But I was like, you know what? We're going to get a laptop. We're going to get a microphone. And then we're just going to see where the fuck this is going to go.
Right.
Yeah. That's
starting.
Like, yo, I bought a whole bunch
of the biggest deal.
I was like, I'm going to learn this. We're going to do this. Like, I bought myself a Cricut, and I'm like, this is not originally how I wanted to do this, but this is how it's going to work right now. Like, this is how we're going to do it. Like,
and I saw that. First of all, I love that you guys use that. I researched it online. It's called the Cricut.
Yeah.
The Cricut. That's like dope.
Yeah.
Actually, do like so much.
I knew about this Cricut for years because which you remind me a lot. The girl that I sent you, that other podcast, the IVF podcast, that's my cousin.
Yes.
You remind me so much of her. So that's why I was like, I feel like y'all need to like hang out or something and talk to each other. I don't know. But,
I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, she's a great person. But she's owned the Cricut since like she was like 8 years old. Whenever the Cricut first came out, she's had a Cricut because she's very crafty. She likes putting events together, parties together and stuff. And she's always had this Cricut. And I'm like, this girl with this fucking Cricut, always with this Cricut. And now at 30,
now you see the value.
Now I'm like, oh, this is what the Cricut do? Like, I didn't know this. Hold on. So I put my little change together. They had a big sale at some point, and I was like, Kat, this is what I'm doing. And she's like, all right, girl, like, I'm gonna back you up. Like, if this is you feel it's right, we're gonna do it. And that's how I've been doing this, like little by little, just building up and learning and learning and learning. And I'm like, sooner or later, there's gonna be a point where I'm just gonna order stuff and I don't gotta make it myself. But right now, I still do like making things with my hands. So to me, that's why I say that I love doing it because I like to make things. So I've always liked to make things with my hands. So to me, I'm like, once I make it and it's done and I see it and I'm like, yeah, that is nice.
Yes. And it's like, yo, once you see your work like in its entirety, you're like, yo, that shit is good. I did that.
It was worth it. It was worth it. Every time, sometimes I just be like, yo, what am I doing this for? Like, I'm not making like I'm not rich. This is not making me rich. So like, what's the point of all this? Like, for real. And then the very next day, here comes Taina. Hey guys, I would like to have you on my podcast. And I'm like, you see, and Kat's like, every time that you are going to give up, she's like, why don't you try to give up more often? Because every time you want to give up, somebody pops up like, yo, we would like, like come to the pop-up shop or,
yes,
you want to order all of this, for my mom or whatever. Like, every time I'm like, what am I doing this for? There comes life.
I saw y'all and I was like, yo, like I went on your page. I was like, wow, this is really dope. Like, I really want to talk to these girls and see like what's
off
up.
Your name, just off your name. I was like, these are our people. this is who we're catering to. And sometimes it feels like we're so alone. Like, we're like, yo, are there really other moms out there that feel like we do? And then we
yes,
see
ma'am.
Like, yep,
present.
There they go. Those are our people right there.
So with that being said, what tips would you give to like moms that are struggling or moms that are just going through like the same kind of issues that you had? Or like what would you say to them?
As far as parenting or running?
Just as far as in general.
Ask for advice when you need advice, but something about being pregnant to me especially made me feel so in tune as a woman. Like, I truly felt like a goddess, and life's purpose and meaning and all that started putting into play. Again, being cultural, being from our Dominican backgrounds and our roots, and like, I'm talking, but there's a picture of my grandma right here, and it's just like, you're built for this. This is like literally, you're built for this. You think not, because fear always stops us. Fear enables us. Fear always, like, not knowing, like, you're always scared to take the next leap. And sometimes, for the most part, when you take the next leap, you're like, oh, I can do this. I got this. And, like one of my good friends right now, she's going through the anxiety postpartum, which I went so strongly through. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, I know it's hard, trust me, because I was like this crazy, insane, her father couldn't even hold her because I said no type person.
Gotcha.
But you got to push the hump, okay? Because we go through this. We're the lions right now because you just birthed, and that's such that fourth trimester that nobody talks about. That's such a sensitive time. That's you're welcoming into motherhood and all that. Like, those first 3 to 4 months, it's like getting your routine, your rhythm, learning your boobs. Are you going to breastfeed? Are you not going to breastfeed? Did this work for me? Did this not? Like, and finally when you get it, you got it. You got it.
All right.
And you don't even notice that you got it.
Yeah, like,
all of a sudden you look around, you're like, oh shit, like I
got this.
Mothered for like 5 years, like what the fuck, like I just did that.
Your baby's 3, and you're like, look, it's still alive.
Yeah.
So, I always say, ask for advice when you need advice, and obviously seek that help and be true with yourself. Don't say I got it when inside you don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But cry in the shower. That's what we all do.
I cry in my car sometimes. Like, I will sit.
Yeah.
I will sit in her car and say she's running errands.
Listen, my boyfriend all the time. He's like, Val, do you cry every day? Like, is this something that you just, every time I watch like a baby on TV or like a mom, you know, she lost her baby on TV or the TV, he's like, and I'm like, listen, I don't, you know, if I don't do this, if I don't cry every day, you are going to feel the wrath at the end of the year. So let me cry, all right?
Let me cry. You gotta cry it out.
You gotta cry it out, baby. Like, and you know,
oh my God.
The fear, I think is the biggest thing that holds us back as moms, because everything is scary when you have a baby. And you can have 5 babies, or this could be your first baby, and it's just as scary as the one before it. Like, it's like things change so rapidly around us, you know? And, you know, when it comes to being a mom, it's like we're all the same, but we're also very different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And sometimes you give birth to a baby and you feel no attachment. I have no idea what that feels like, because the minute I saw this child, I mean, like, the minute I knew I was pregnant, it was like,
yes,
I'm a mother already. And it's like, but some people have this baby,
they go through that,
have no attachment, they feel awkward. It's a very scary time. And it's like Kathy said, you know, don't say that you got it when you don't. That's something that was very hard for me. And I think a lot of Latinas go through this, where it's like, I got it. I don't need you. I got it. I even tell my, like, you can leave. I got this. Like, I don't need you. I could be a single mom. All right. I could be a single mom. And then I look at single moms around me and I'm like, damn, I'm so glad you're here. As you fucking are, I am so glad that you're here. But I think we
go through that.
I think it's true. I think that sometimes you just have to realistically look at yourself as a person for a second. And if you don't feel okay, admit that and say, I don't feel, even if you're just saying it to yourself, guys, I don't feel okay. I don't feel well. This is not right. And there are resources. It's very scary because sometimes we don't want to tell people that, because they're like, oh, are you going to hurt your baby? And it's like, no, it's not.
It's not that serious.
And if you do have that thought, if you do have the thought that you made her, that's something that's not right. And so you do have to voice it out so that, you know, you can feel better and start taking steps to feel better. I think being a mom it can be very, very scary when you don't have the right support and when you don't have the right resources. For me, like I said, I was a snob mom. I thought that I had it down pat. And then I'm holding this tiny, fragile little thing, and literally minutes after I gave birth, and I'm just looking around me like confused, because I'm like, wait, I gotta, like, by myself, like I gotta do this by myself. And when I remember, I will never forget the day, because, you know, my boyfriend was lucky enough that he was able to stay with me for like 3 days. After I gave birth, but then there was a time where he had to go back to work, and then my mom had to go back to work, and his mom had to go back to work, and everybody had to leave, and it was just me and this baby, and it was very scary. The boy wasn't latching, and he's crying for like, please, somebody feed me. I didn't have no bottles. I didn't know how to pump. I didn't know any of that, and I'm just like just really like fucked up. I was like, I'm really fucked up right now. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is coming from a person who, and Kathy mentioned this to me. She's the one that kind of like put the perspective on me about myself. She's like, you are an overachiever in your regular life. You're an overachiever. And this is something that you're not overachieving in, because it's impossible to be an overachieving mom and be happy. It's not realistic. That's not real.
So she had to reel you in, girl. She was like, wait a
but
second.
It was also talking to myself.
Right. Like, she's telling herself, but telling me, but telling herself. So
because it's like we're over here doing the utmost. And when I say like the utmost, I literally mean like we're making baby food from scratch. We're pumping. We're like,
I was doing that too. Oh my God.
With special detergent and like, you know, the whole works, and, you know, folded different. And we both have animals at this time. And it's like, now you gotta take care of the animals too. And I gotta pump again. And it's just like, dude, like,
it was a lot. That was, you know, and it's also like, it almost felt like you didn't have like control, you know? So what happens in motherhood, which I learned the hard way, is that there's always going to be constant change. Your baby is literally changing daily.
Always. Yep.
And you're like, all right, I got a routine. I know what to do. I'm trying to give him this food, and now he don't want it. But just
and then switch up.
Just yesterday, he was busting it down. Now I don't have to be ready for you because I thought you was gonna eat this, and now you're not eating it. Like, what the fuck? So and you know, change is hard when you're trying to be a person that has a routine. You know, routines make our lives easier. But
definitely.
Kids be like, fuck routine. Don't care about your
like you and your feelings.
You know what? I think about your routine. I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 in the morning. That's
there you go. And that's exactly how it be, girl.
So,
well, ladies.
What I would say to moms is, like Kathy said, you got this.
You got this.
And if you feel like you don't got this, we got you. We all got you. You, Taina, Kat, me, we got you.
Find the village, man. Find it.
Oh my God, ladies. It was such a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. We got to do this again. Shout out your brand, please. Where they can find you. Instagram, YouTube, whatever you got. Hit it.
Yeah, so on Instagram, we are the Milk Brand. THE. Yeah, the Milk Brand, at the Milk Brand. Twitter, we don't use a lot, but it's still at the Milk Brand. You know what? Just type in at the Milk Brand and
you'll find us.
You'll find us.
Make sure to subscribe on our website. We have a lot of cool new merch coming out for the fall.
Yes, we have hoodies.
I can't wait.
We have hoodies.
Got some new colors. We got
Everyone's looking for the hoodies
that Val loves. Trust me, she gets into her stuff. So, but we look forward to doing more of this too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and if anyone ever has any questions, please just let them know. You can also forward people to us and vice versa.
I sure will. You know, I'll be shouting you out.
Yep.
I'll be shouting you out all the time.
We had a great time.
All right. Take care. Have a good one, ladies.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.